otherwise known as Ravings and Cravings, coming to you live from the WLI Good Company 14 AM 95.3 FM studio here with the amazing Matt Rupar, who is still looking handsome since he got his haircut. Very nice.
Thank you, Ruth.
You're welcome. You guys are in for a treat today. I still, before I go on though, I should give a shout out to Elm Package Store. Thank you for sponsoring this program and for letting the show go on from here. So I'm going to do something kind of out of the ordinary today, and I like doing things that are kind of different. So, I'm in the studio here with my one and only younger sister who is visiting here from the state of Wisconsin where we were both born. And I thought I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity because today we're going to talk about Middle Eastern food, growing up in an Armenian household, but also folding in some of the Middle Eastern places that we have here in the area that are amazing as far as food offerings. Now, that being said, I'm going to welcome my sister Deborah.
Hello.
Deborah Rodriguez, no longer a Hartunian, but somewhere in there, right? Yeah. So we're going to welcome her. I'm going to just make one disclaimer at the front end here, and that is that nobody's better than Mom. So
Truth.
That's the standard by which we measure
many ththings.
Many things, but as far as food, I think my sister is a much better Armenian cook than I am, even though I make it. But and we brought something into the studio for everyone to try. She made homemade baklava. So I'm going to let people see that now if you're on YouTube. Sorry if you're on Radio Land, but I'm going to take the foil off of this bowl. And I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. But I also, can you see this down here, Matt? Like if
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to none other than Keith Rice because he just gave me this lovely birthday present, which is a little frog that looks like a Buddha crossing his legs, but it's missing something, and my sister had a really good idea. So we're going to put the WLI bumper sticker right in his hands, and that is perfection right there. All right, so let's talk about food and growing up in Wisconsin. Our dad came here from Beirut. Tell me about the things that you remember that you like best.
Well,
lots of best.
There's nothing like Armenian food. So that's, in my opinion, that's the food that will be eaten in heaven. And if you don't like it, I really wonder if you're going to be there.
Oh, that's kind of bold. That's one bold thing to say.
Yeah, it's pretty exaggerated,
but
that's how much I like it. It's the best. Yeah.
But let's talk about real food. What do you like?
All right. Well, I do like sarma.
So, what is sarma?
So sarma, you if you want to do it the fresh way, you pick grape leaves at the prime time in the summer. Usually it's early summer, and you bring them home and you clean them off. You roll them up and maybe 10 at a time and tie just a regular string around it.
You put them with the vein side up, and you cut the stem off if it's a longer stem, and then you roll it.
Yep.
Right. Tie it with a string and then put it in boiling salt water.
Yep. And I don't know, I don't boil it very long. I don't know about you.
Do you really do it from scratch like that?
I have.
Wow.
I've never bought it in a jar. To me, that's.
Oh, I have bought.
My.
My confession. I have bought it in a jar, and I must say that all jarred grape leaves are not alike. Some of them are tough. Some of them taste bad. Some of them have too much salt and preservative in there. I mean, the way that we grew up doing it, that was that was the gold standard. Okay, so after you wilt it, then what do you do?
Yeah, then if you're going to make it right away, of course you untie the string and put your grape leaves on the table one at a time. And you put your either a meat mixture or a rice mixture. And usually it's a mixture that has lots of parsley and lots of onions and usually garlic. And with the rice, usually, well, for us, was lemon juice, the flavoring.
Do you make the rice one?
I do.
I think that one's, it's not, I don't like the, I think rice is kind of like more the Greek style of the grape leaf kind of thing. When I make it with either a combination of ground beef and lamb, and then bulgur or cracked wheat for people who know what that is, and then all those other seasonings that you mentioned.
Yep. And it takes a very long time to make it, and probably 3 minutes to eat it.
I know, it's like, it is that
And
fast.
yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah, I had a sarma making party with a number of international friends. About a half a dozen of them showed up. And it's much more enjoyable because you get to talk with people, you get to laugh, and then you all get to make a ton of them and take some home.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And then as far as cooking it, what do you do?
So you put them into a broth. Usually it's a broth with like chicken broth or beef broth with some tomato sauce. And of course a little bit of salt and pepper. And I even put a little bit of lemon juice in there. But just a little bit on the bottom, and then some tomato sauce on top of all the sarma once you get them all in there.
So do you put a layer of grape leaves on the bottom of the pan?
Yeah,
too?
and you know what? Even on top.
Even on
I would
top.
put it on top. Yeah.
Okay. And I sometimes pour V8
Oh, that's even
tomato
better.
juice over the top.
Yep.
And then we put an upside down like dinner plate on top of all that.
Yep.
And some kind of weight.
Yep.
And then I want to see what you think, because like we haven't talked about what we're going to talk about. How do you know when it's done?
Well, if the recipe tells you when it's done, I am this recipe following person. Ruth is not as much.
I am not. Okay.
But of course, the taste test is probably the best.
And to me, I think using my senses is what tells me when something is done. So if I can smell it, that means it's either almost done or it is done. And sometimes I will, like even when I make Mom's cookies with the nuts in it, those are so delicate and they can easily burn. I will leave out of my house, get some fresh air, and then come back into the house to smell what I smell and to see if it smells right.
Yeah, that's the level of baking that I don't do.
Well,
When I was making the pavlova, we were sitting outside, and you're like, ooh, do you smell that? And I'm like, no.
well, and that is kind of an Armenian joke, is Armenians have big noses, so maybe my big nose is bigger than yours, and I can smell better than you, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
think
know.
so.
Okay, so sarma, and what else is and I should mention, for us, nothing ever went to waste. Everything was used. When Dad brought home a 50-pound bag of onions from 7 Mile Fair Flea Market,
Yeah.
all the onions got used because that was $10 that was spent, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. Food was a marathon type of thing, especially when we made things like sarma or the Armenian version of shish kebab or anything that was outside on a grill. And I mean, for us, a grill was 1.5 by 3 feet long. And it was something that Dad thought up and made. But it would be a day-long effort. So talk about what that was like.
Yeah, so to me, of course, there's very fond memories.
Yeah.
But now I'm speaking as an adult. As a child,
You're going to give us the child side.
didn't see it that way.
Right,
But
we
looking
never
back,
do.
once you grow up, you realize that those were very special times where there's bonding that takes place. There's a lot of talk, communication, conversation about anything, and spending time with each other, the together thing going on, and very, very, very special. Yeah.
Yes, and so Mom would be in the house putting things on the skewers that Dad had fashioned. He'd made the skewers. I have some of. Do you have some of
Nope.
this?
Nope.
I have the skewers. Oh, okay. So I have Dad's homemade skewers, and what we would do is she would pile on the the shish kebab, or we had Armenian sausages, which were not pork. They were a ground beef mixture that you shaped into a long sausage and you put it on a skewer. So our job was to take things on the skewer raw outside to where the grill was and Dad was, and then he would cook it. And then he'd take stuff off the skewer, and then we'd take the skewer back in the house. And that went on for hours.
Yeah, because we made a lot, and then we ate it for the next few days.
I'm surprised we didn't have a big freezer. We never had big freezers.
That's
What
true.
would we do without our freezers?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a fan of freezers. I know you are.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, with 6 kids and feeding a lot of people.
See,
You know what that's like.
2 deep freezes and 2 refrigerator freezers.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, how about some of your other memories of other food? Name one more.
Well, oh boy. Well, there's so many I could say. So one
Yeah.
that is kind of funny to me, which I didn't realize it at the time that it was unusual, but I would take cow tongue sandwiches
Oh,
to
no.
school in junior
no.
high.
No.
So I think I even took cow brain sandwiches to school.
Did you do tripe too?
No, I didn't know. No, tripe was a soup, and I didn't take soup to school. But yeah, I would gross everybody out. They'd be like, brain sandwiches.
No. I remember telling Mom that I thought that when she cooked tripe, the whole house smelled like a gorilla cage.
You know what? Some people might not know what tripe is.
I love
right?
my mom, but
Yeah,
So-
I love that soup.
well, and back in that generation, that was cheaper food. And now we fast forward to now, and that is expensive food. Those sweetbreads are more expensive. Oxtail stew?
Oxtails, yeah.
It's hard to find oxtails. I think last time I found them, it was at a Whole Foods. Maybe they're around here, but yeah.
Yeah.
I ate the brains. We liked the steak tartare, the pile of raw meat with some of the veggies in there, slapped on a piece of rye bread.
Yep.
That was a good meal.
That
You
was for
didn't-
celebrations usually.
Yeah, and I still look for that sometimes, and people are grossed out that I.
Yeah.
Do you ever eat that anymore?
I do, and my kids get really grossed out. I only do it like maybe 2 or 3 times a year, around like Christmas or something.
How do you find the quality of the meat? Do you go to a butcher? Or what?
Yeah, my kids tell me that what I buy is not the quality. Just pick and save.
That wouldn't be the quality. That's
It's
kind of
not
like
quality.
that would be kind of like an Aldi version, but like you could get your own lean meat and you
From
could
a
grind
butcher.
your own. No,
Yeah.
and they could grind it for you.
Yeah,
maybe.
right. Yep.
Right.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, you brought this lovely delicacy in, homemade baklava, made with walnuts, cinnamon, your own syrupy thing. They are cut in little diamond kind of, what do you call it, shapes. One's a triangle. These were used you made a bunch of them for our birthday bash on Saturday. So we brought 3 pieces in. So Matt, you want to give this a try?
Yeah, sure.
And why don't you snag whichever one you want?
Take a big one.
I'll take the small one just in case.
Yeah, in case, just in case you don't like it. I'm gonna take one of these here. I know people can't see it, but it's you put most of the nuts and stuff like that in the bottom layers.
I did. Yeah, I did because nuts are a little bit heavier than the layers.
Oh, so there's
And-
a method to the
And
madness.
if you put it up higher, then that's like weighting down all the other layers. So I put it closer to the bottom so the topper layers are more fluffy.
That's really good.
Yeah.
What are your other tricks that you could pass on as far as baklava making?
Yeah. So when you make it, I learned that actually a few things by trial and error that you want to let it cool off on a rack that is vented. Like I was letting it cool off like on where are those surfaces like you have at home, the
Just a flat
top?
surface? Yeah, flat
Yeah.
top stove.
Yeah, don't cool it off there, or even on a like a cutting board, because all the steam gets like trapped in there.
Oh, so it gets soggy?
Yep.
Okay.
Unless you like soggy baklava.
No, you're more of a connoisseur on that because you say it has to be crispy.
Well, in our family, I overbake it. I mean, that's how we like it. Just
this is perfect right here.
nice, darker brown.
I know you can't see it if you're going to watch it on YouTube. you can see what they look like, but I'm gonna take a bite into one, and I'm gonna intentionally get near the microphone so that you can hear how amazingly crunchy this is. Okay, so this is my chance here. Mom would be very proud of you.
Yeah, she's a good teacher.
Thing I remember about baklava was, now we buy the phyllo dough. We buy them. But do you remember?
Yeah.
Usually around Christmas time, our grandpa, mom, and us, we would even make our own dough, roll that stuff out, clarify our own butter, make our own syrup. My grandfather he came here from Beirut, he never used an electronic kitchen device.
Or anything really.
No,
Even
no.
outside yard tools or
Oh yeah, yeah.
anything.
I remember that one time that the lawnmower was broken and
Yep.
he cut the lawn with his scissors.
Yeah, with the lawn scissors.
Lawn
With
scissors.
his hands. He
with
sat
his
there
hands.
and
Yep, he did. That was him. So nuts, when he would chop nuts, it would just be a cutting board and a knife. Likely it was a bad knife too. So that was a labor of love, and 2 9x13 pans of it took like the whole day.
Yeah, and I don't know if people realize that's paper
Paper
thin dough.
Yeah, so you use
Rolling it
about how many layers of dough for
Well,
yours?
it's a whole pound, almost a whole pound.
Do you know how many
actually.
layers are in a pound?
I don't, but if I had to guess, I would say probably 40.
All right, and
So,
it
yeah.
was probably more than that from when we made
Probably.
that from scratch.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we do have a few, and too bad you got to leave. I'd like to take you to these places, but we do have Gansett wraps up in stores. They have some of the best falafel, and Dad used to like falafel. They also have a great sampling platter with the eggplant, which it's
Baba
called,
ganoush.
yeah, and tabbouleh or tabbouleh, and some other things, and even Little Aladdin, which is nearby, still near campus. He has really wonderful Middle Eastern food. Good. What do we call it? Meze. Like it's a assortment of things that you could just nibble on.
Oh, I
It's
don't
like a little snacky kind of thing. But he also has good food, and he has what do you call the gyros and those kind of sandwiches.
I make homemade falafel now.
How do you do that?
It's homemade. A lot of cilantro, a lot of parsley,
What do you use to
chickpea, a little bit of chickpea flour,
chickpea?
and then chickpeas themselves, but they can't be canned chickpeas. And you put that all in your food processor along with,
Really?
garlic, of course, and
Always garlic.
Yeah.
Oh, onions.
yeah, onions.
Always onions.
Always.
You make it from scratch.
Yes.
Ah, see, you're
There's
holding
nothing
out on
like
me.
it. Nothing like it. Yeah.
So what? You just throw certain measurements of it, and
I'll give you the recipe.
then you throw the switch and fry it up.
That's it.
Wow, where'd you get that idea?
I found I'm a recipe follower. I found a good recipe.
One thing that I've made frequently that I think I've perfected is the cookies that they were called shakalochmas,
Yeah.
which are basically, I think a lot of cultures have that version of a buttery cookie with a very finely chopped nut in there, lots of butter. I think
Of course.
a whole pound I think a whole pound plus all the other stuff makes 12 dozen cookies or something like that. I did a YouTube tutorial on how to make that, actually. So if people wanted to go to my YouTube channel, Ruth Hartunian Ellenbaugh, you'll see my cookie making demonstration. I give away all the secrets on how to make it good because I had to fail many times before I got to where I was.
That's how it goes.
Do you ever make those?
I haven't made those in years.
See, I make the simple stuff.
Yeah.
You make the complicated stuff.
I
How
can
about-
finally do that now.
How about the version of pilaf that Mom made? Do you make that still?
I don't know if I make it the same way you do. I don't put a lot of butter in mine, but at the holidays I do.
Only holidays?
You put a lot of butter in yours.
I melt a stick of butter
Yeah.
or a half a stick, and then get a big handful of the fine egg noodles,
I do that.
right? And then you roast them until they get brown.
Yeah.
And then you take maybe 2 cups of bulgur and throw that in there and keep mixing that on high heat so it kind of roasts. Oh, I forgot chopped onion in there. Huh. Just if we didn't say it, just put onions in everything.
Yeah, right.
That's the Armenian way,
food.
right? Armenian way.
Right.
And then
And garlic.
I don't put garlic in the
Not in that one.
pilaf. Okay, all right. And then you put some kind of liquid, so it could be water, veggie stock, chicken stock. And I usually do for every 1 cup of the bulgur, I use 1 cup of water. I know it's less, but I know I'm going to add more liquid later, so that's why I go under.
Oh, okay.
Then
Yeah, that's good to know.
you just cover it up. See, I'm passing on some of my easy tips for you. we enjoyed in the summer something called jajoch, which is, you explain what it is.
Yeah, so you can, it's
I'm going to
plain
have
yogurt.
one more bite of this crunchiness while you talk about that. Go ahead.
So my grandfather and my mom, they would make homemade yogurt, plain yogurt. So you take the yogurt and you just put water in there and some garlic powder and salt and cucumbers. And that's it. And if you want to make a drink out of it, it's called tan. You just minus the cucumbers and drink it. Yeah.
I think there's a Greek version of that called tzatziki sauce, kind of a accompaniment to your food. But also, I learned that I went to an Indian cooking class, and they do something similar.
Yeah.
And they do something interesting is they take the back of a big spoon and they kind of squish the cucumbers to get the essence of the cucumber more into the yogurt type of sauce.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great idea. And then lamb. We love lamb.
Yeah, that's extra special.
I have a published recipe in Taste of Home cooking magazine or cooking cookbook for my Armenian style lamb. When was the last time you made that?
Oh, I made that for Easter.
Okay, so it's just a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
So what do you put in yours?
Well, don't ask me that because I cross over probably 2 or 3 recipes with yours being one of them.
Oh, good, I made the cut.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah.
All
It's
right.
mostly leaning more towards how you make it.
So do you let it sit for a few days?
I know. No, I know that's the part. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that for like 3 days.
3
so
days,
I
yeah.
only do it like 24 hours.
That's all.
So yeah, so make it in the morning and then the next day, maybe afternoon or evening, I just. Yeah.
Do you ever put it on a skewer, or do you usually cook it in the?
It's in the oven. I do it in the oven.
But in meat chunks, or do you do like
Chunks.
slices? Yeah, chunks. So that recipe is, it's very easy. Again, it's like all the same base. Chopped parsley, chopped
Parsley and
onion.
onion again.
I know, and garlic. I guess that's
Yeah.
the Armenian holy trinity there for cooking. And also, I put dried mint in there,
Yes.
not fresh.
I think I put fresh.
Fresh kind of changes it, but I put dried in there, and then I'll put. I like Lowry seasoned salt. It's a little different than regular salt, and so that's also an awesome thing too. And just let it sit. Oh, balsamic vinegar,
Right.
and olive oil. Yeah.
Yep.
Same.
Yep.
And I let mine sit for 3 days. You let yours sit for 1.
Yeah, 24 hours.
And then you just bake it.
Yeah,
It's a nice make-ahead thing. You could put that in your crock pot. Yeah.
that's true.
Well, you know what? Our time is almost up, and we could talk about food all day. We have great memories, and we enjoyed. We didn't appreciate. We didn't appreciate what we had.
Yeah, we
when we
didn't.
had it because we wanted hot dogs and macaroni and cheese, and peanut butter and jelly, like all the other kids in school who were bringing that for lunch, and we're bringing
Now,
them. Whatever.
We laugh now. It's like, what were we thinking, right?
But now we know that what we received was even better than
Yeah.
than all that. Even though a hot dog once in a while is all right. So I want to thank you, Deborah Hartunian Rodriguez, for being here on the radio. You did great.
Well,
Thanks.
had a good teacher.
Thanks for bringing baklava. Thank you again to Key for this lovely little memento for my birthday. Thank you to Elm Discount Package Store. This is Ruth Hartunian Ellenbaugh signing off here on Good Company, WILI.